Hello everyone, this is Father Mariano Vicky, missionary in the U.S. Today's Gospel reading comes from the Gospel according to Matthew. As Jesus got into a boat, his disciples followed him. Suddenly, a violent storm came up on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by waves, but he was asleep. They came and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us, we are perishing." He said to them, "Why are you terrified, O you of little faith?" Then he got up, rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was great calm. The men were amazed and said, "What sort of man is this, whom even the winds and the sea obey?" Brothers and sisters, we have this wonderful gospel reading offered for our meditation today. The fathers of the church, commenting on this passage of the gospel, agree on most of the symbols that they see in this gospel. They see Jesus and his apostles on a boat going across the Sea of Galilee. And when they comment on it, they say, well, every time you have Jesus and his apostles on the boat is a sign of the church. It is a sign of the church. The sea and the crossing of the sea is a symbol of the church traveling to eternity through space and time. The storm stands for everything that is contrary to God, everything that may part us from God, everything that is contrary to Him. And most of the fathers of the church agree on these symbols. But when it comes to the part where the gospel says that Jesus is asleep, the fathers of the church offer different interpretations, which are obviously all valid and good for our spiritual life and for our meditation. St. Augustine, in particular, in his in his sermon number 63, offers us a very interesting interpretation. He says that the disciples were terrified because they allowed the Messiah, because they allowed Jesus to fall asleep. And obviously, he doesn't mean that the apostles allowed Jesus to physically fall asleep, but they allowed their faith in Jesus fall asleep. And that is why, when everything contrary to God, when the time of temptation came, they were not ready. They were not prepared. They had allowed their faith in Jesus fall asleep. It's a very interesting interpretation, and it's wonderful for our spiritual life. Because if there is one thing that is certain in our lives, is that until we get to eternity, we will have to go through storms. It will be unrealistic for us to think that we are going to have no storms at all in our lives, that we will have no temptations, no misunderstandings, no shortcomings, no sufferings, either moral or physical. It will be unrealistic for us to think that way. That is why the Lord wants us to be prepared. We must be prepared for the storms. We are part of that church that is going across the lake, that is walking in space and time towards eternity. And therefore, unlike the apostles, we need to be prepared. So we need to be prepared for the storms by keeping our faith in the Lord, our faith in Christ, our faith in His power and help, always awake, never asleep. And we do that by practicing, by putting into practice, different means in our lives. We need to keep our faith in the Messiah alive by constant prayer, by meditation, by familiarity with the Lord in prayer. Obviously, if we keep this familiarity going and strong, our faith in Him will never waver. Our faith in Him will never be weak. We will be ready for the storm. We keep our faith in the Messiah alive by receiving Him in the sacrament of confession and in the sacrament of the Eucharist. We keep our faith in Him by imitating His virtues in our daily life, by practicing those virtues that will keep us away from these waves and these things that go against what the Lord wants for us. Brothers and sisters, our faith in the power of God, our faith in the power of the Messiah, is the weapon to fight the storms. And if we keep that faith alive and awake, what happens? What happens is what the Lord did at the end of today's Gospel reading. He woke up. He told the winds and the sea, be calm. He rebuked them. And it came, the Gospel says, and there was a great calm. So if we keep close to the Lord, even in the times of storms, there will be a great calm in our lives. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing the gospel and homily, I invite you to share it with someone you know who may also find it rewarding, and also to subscribe to the Catholic Voice channel. Please see in the description below if you would like to receive a text message for each daily gospel and homily. Please also keep our missionary priests throughout the world in your prayers. Thank you, and God bless.